The Crusades and the expansion of Christianity in the Near East. The Crusades, a series of religiously motivated military campaigns initiated by European Christians in the 11th to 13th centuries, had profound consequences not only for Christian Europe but also for the Near East, where they sought to reclaim Jerusalem and other Christian holy sites from Muslim control. These wars, particularly the First Crusade, 1096 to 1099, and subsequent campaigns, significantly impacted the spread and establishment of Christianity in the region, both during and after the Crusades. This article explores the ways in which the Crusades contributed to the expansion of Christianity in the Near East, the challenges the Crusaders faced, and the enduring legacy of Christian influence in the region. 1. The First Crusade and the capture of Jerusalem. The primary goal of the First Crusade was the reclamation of Jerusalem from Muslim rule. Jerusalem had been under Islamic control since the 7th century, after the Arab conquests. For centuries, the city had been a significant religious site for Christians, Jews, and Muslims. The Pope's call for a crusade in 1095, which promised indulgences and spiritual rewards, was seen as a holy mission to restore Christian control over the holy sites, particularly the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, where Christians believed Jesus was crucified and resurrected. 1.1. Christian control of Jerusalem. In 1099, after a long and bloody siege, the Crusaders captured Jerusalem. The capture of the city marked the culmination of the First Crusade and the establishment of Christian rule over the city for the first time in nearly 500 years. The Crusaders immediately set about establishing the Kingdom of Jerusalem, which lasted nearly 2 centuries, until its fall in 1187. During this time, Christianity flourished within the Crusader states, as churches were rebuilt, and Christian pilgrims were able to travel freely to the city. This period of Christian rule in Jerusalem was crucial in the expansion of Christianity in the Near East. The establishment of Christian institutions, such as monasteries and dioceses, and the rebuilding of Christian holy sites, helped maintain Christian presence in the region. The Kingdom of Jerusalem became a beacon of Christianity in a predominantly Muslim world, even though the Crusaders' rule was fraught with challenges from both local Muslim populations and rival Christian factions. 2. The creation of Crusader states in the Near East. In addition to Jerusalem, the Crusaders established several other Crusader states in the Near East, including the Principality of Antioch, the County of Tripoli, and the County of Edessa. These states were designed not only to serve as military outposts for Christian control, but also as centers of Christian evangelism and governance in the region. 2.1. Christian presence beyond Jerusalem. The Crusader states provided a platform for the spread of Christianity in the Levant. As Crusaders settled in these territories, they brought with them their faith, customs, and institutions. Christian missionaries sought to convert the local populations, including both Muslims and Jews, though with varying degrees of success. In some cases, local Christian communities, such as the Syriac Orthodox and Armenian Apostolic Christians, coexisted alongside the Latin Crusader settlers. However, the Crusader states were often isolated and vulnerable to attacks from Muslim forces, and their ability to spread Christianity beyond their borders was limited. Despite this, the Crusaders managed to establish a lasting Christian presence in the region, which would influence the cultural and religious landscape for centuries. 3. The impact of the Crusades on the local Christian communities. While the Crusaders sought to expand Christianity in the Near East, they also encountered established Christian communities that had existed for centuries under Islamic rule. These communities, including the Eastern Orthodox, Armenian, Syriac, and Coptic Christians, were often caught between the Crusaders' ambitions and the Muslim powers that ruled the region. The Crusaders' arrival had both positive and negative effects on these local Christian populations. 3.1. Coexistence and conflict with local Christians. In some areas, local Christians collaborated with the Crusaders, seeing them as allies against Muslim rulers. For example, Armenian Christians in Cilicia and the Syriac Christians in the Kingdom of Jerusalem often formed alliances with the Crusaders. They shared a common faith and sometimes faced persecution from the local Muslim authorities. However, the Latin Christian Crusaders sometimes imposed their authority and church practices on these older Christian communities, causing tension and resentment. The Roman Catholic influence was seen as foreign and often undermined the autonomy of the Eastern churches. In the long run, the Crusades did contribute to the preservation and, to some extent, the revitalization of Eastern Christianity in the region, especially through interactions with Western Christianity. However, the Latinization efforts by the Crusaders often alienated the local Christian populations, and tensions persisted between the Western Church and the Eastern Orthodox Church for centuries. 4. The Second and Third Crusades, continuation of religious and political goals. After the capture of Jerusalem in 1099, the Crusader states struggled to maintain control, leading to further crusades aimed at defending and expanding Christian territories in the Near East. 4.1. The Second Crusade, 1147 to 1149. The Second Crusade was launched in response to the fall of the county of Edessa to Muslim forces in 1144. Though the Crusaders failed to achieve their objectives, the event underscored the importance of maintaining a strong Christian presence in the Near East. The Second Crusade did result in the establishment of some new Christian holdings in the region, but the failure of the campaign led to a loss of momentum for the Crusaders. 4.2. The Third Crusade, 1189 to 1192. The Third Crusade was launched after Saladin, the Muslim leader, recaptured Jerusalem in 1187. The Crusaders, led by Richard the Lionheart, Philip II of France, and Frederick I Barbarossa, sought to reclaim the city. While they failed to take Jerusalem, they succeeded in capturing other key cities along the coast, such as Acre and Jaffa, thereby securing a Christian foothold in the region. The Crusaders' control over these cities allowed for the continued flow of Christian pilgrims to the holy sites, particularly Jerusalem, which remained under Muslim control but was now open to Christian visitation. 5. The decline of Crusader influence and the end of Christian expansion. Despite initial successes, the Crusader states in the Near East began to decline by the late 12th century. Saladin's military campaigns and the internal divisions within the Crusader leadership weakened the Christian hold on the region. By 1291, the last Crusader stronghold in the Holy Land, Acre, fell to the Mamluks, marking the end of Christian political and military dominance in the region. The Christian presence in the Near East continued through pilgrimages and the activities of Christian merchants, but the expansion of Christianity in the region was halted by the reconsolidation of Muslim power. The fall of the Crusader states did not, however, end the spiritual and cultural influence of Christianity in the Near East. The legacy of Crusader presence continued through the Catholic missions, monastic orders, and continued interaction between Eastern and 5. The decline of Crusader influence and the end of Christian expansion. Despite initial successes, the Crusader states in the Near East began to decline by the late 12th century. Saladin's military campaigns and the internal divisions within the Crusader leadership weakened the Christian hold on the region. By 1291, the last Crusader stronghold in the Holy Land, Acre, fell to the Mamluks, marking the end of Christian political and military dominance in the region. The Christian presence in the Near East continued through pilgrimages and the activities of Christian merchants, but the expansion of Christianity in the region was halted by the reconsolidation of Muslim power. The fall of the Crusader states did not, however, end the spiritual and cultural influence of Christianity in the Near East. The legacy of Crusader presence continued through the Catholic missions, monastic orders, and continued interaction between Eastern and Western Christianity. 6. The legacy of the Crusades in the Near East. The Crusades had a lasting impact on the Near East and the relationship between Christianity and Islam. While the Crusaders failed to establish a permanent Christian kingdom in the region, their efforts helped shape the religious and political landscape for centuries. The Latin Christian presence in the Holy Land helped to preserve Christian holy sites, facilitated Christian pilgrimage, and influenced the development of Christian communities in the region. The Crusader legacy is also marked by the cultural exchanges between the Christian West and the Muslim East, as both sides interacted with each other through trade, diplomacy, and warfare. The Crusades brought the Christian and Muslim worlds into direct contact, contributing to both religious conflict and cultural exchange. Conclusion. The Crusades were a pivotal moment in the history of Christianity's expansion in the Near East. They represented an attempt to reclaim Christian holy sites and establish Christian rule in a predominantly Muslim region. While the Crusaders succeeded in creating Christian-controlled states for a time, the long-term impact of the Crusades was more complex. The Crusades facilitated the continued presence of Christianity in the region, but they also led to religious tensions, especially between Western Christianity and Eastern Christianity. Ultimately, the Crusades marked the end of a large-scale effort to expand Christianity in the Near East, but left behind a legacy that continues to influence